I think this may turn into one of my most controversial videos.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no...
Hello everyone and welcome back to the MrEliMac YouTube channel. I'm your host, MrEliMac, and today I'm starting sort of a new series of videos that is just simply called MrEliMac Rants, where I just take a topic I want to talk about and I just rant about it. It is very much just in line of the weekly YouTube videos that I plan on doing here, since I can't promise I'm going to be able to do a pitch of this video every single week or a wrestling fantasy booking video every single week. I've just decided to just take a topic that I want to talk about in terms of video games, comics, movies, wrestling, etc, 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 and just talk about it to you, the audience. And if you like this sort of these types of videos that I'm doing, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That way you can be up to date with all the videos I have here on the channel. Also hit the notification bells, that way you can be notified whenever a new video like this comes your way. So yeah, I said up top that I think this may be a controversial video for some people, and a controversial topic for some people, and it's simply because if you've seen the thumbnail, if you saw the title, you know this is me basically saying I think it's time for us to let go of Barry Allen as the Flash. And when I say that, I don't mean just entirely let him go, like, okay, Barry Allen doesn't matter anymore to the grander scheme of the DC universe. He doesn't matter anymore. We're gonna forget about Barry Allen. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm simply saying is that I think it's time, in terms of media, in the TV medium and in the movie medium, to let go of Barry Allen. And in terms of movies, I mainly say that because the main Barry Allen that we've had is Ezra Miller. We've had Ezra Miller really since 2014. I know a lot of people may not remember that, but Ezra Miller was cast as the Flash all the way back in 2014. I want to say the first episode of The Flash debuted, I think it was the second episode of The Flash came out, and then right after that they announced that Ezra Miller was playing the Flash in the DCEU, and so we sort of had that we were sort of stuck with that for a good time. And then it wasn't until 2016 that Ezra Miller actually made their theatrical debut as the Flash in just one scene of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice in a quick cameo, and then they made their first full appearance as Barry Allen in Justice League in 2017. Sure, it was the Justice League and not the Zack Snyder cut, but nonetheless, it was still Ezra Miller appearing as Barry Allen for the first time. And also another thing that happened was that it took us forever just to get a Flash solo film that starred Ezra Miller as the Flash, and that literally came out last month. And based off of the box office, it's not doing great. And I think it's because a lot of fans around this time, and I'm just talking about movie fans, at this point, a lot of movie fans were not really keen on watching a big blockbuster film every single Friday and every single weekend. A new blockbuster would come out, and I just think a lot of fans of the genre of movies, or the medium of movies, just got tired of watching a blockbuster every single weekend, because some people just can't afford to go to the movies every single weekend. And most of the time when they go to the movie theaters, they want to watch the big films. I don't want to say they don't want to watch the big films. A majority of the families, like parents with their kids, they want to go watch the big films. And it's really difficult to do that when every single weekend a new big film is coming out. So then you have to sort of look around and be like, okay, which big film am I willing to miss, and which one do I want to watch? The Flash was a movie that I think people were willing to miss, especially with a lot of the nostalgia that the movie had with Michael Keaton as Batman, returning as Batman, with a lot of the visuals showing that, oh, we're basically doing the Man of Steel story again, but this time we're doing it as a Flashpoint type idea. And I think the idea of Flashpoint being the main story going into this film might have hurt it as well, because I feel like at this point, and again, if you're a Flash fan, you can correct me, I feel like a lot of fans of DC Comics are just tired of Flashpoint at this period of time, because we'd seen it in an animated film done perfectly in Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox. We saw a version of it done in The Flash Season 3, and so now this is our third time doing it, and since it is Ezra Miller's first Flash movie, it's sort of like, oh, we're not gonna do another story we're going straight into Flashpoint, which the reason why they were really doing Flashpoint was because they wanted to reset the universe so they could start anew, and they had multiple versions of how they were going to do it. And I'm speaking outside of what James Gunn is doing right now. I'm saying that even back before, they were going to use the Flash as the reset button, and I was thinking they were going to use the Flash as the reset button all the way back when 2016 or 2017 when the Justice League movie came out, and so I was thinking they were going to do that anyway. Excuse me. So when it was fully confirmed, like, oh yeah, we're using Flashpoint, we're resetting the universe, I think a lot of fans, and a lot of casual fans, just were a little confused at what that meant. And all they saw was, oh, Michael Keaton's coming back as Batman, and we're finally getting a Flash movie, so this would be pretty cool. And I'm talking about the people that may not even have been in the know of the entire Ezra Miller legal situation. And again, if a reason why a lot of people didn't go watch The Flash was because of the Ezra Miller situation, that's completely valid as well, because that is another reason why some people may not have wanted to watch The Flash. And I just think we're at a point where Barry Allen has been done so much at this point that I think it is time to move on from Barry Allen, sort of like how back from the 50s to the 80s, Barry Allen was the Flash for a long period of time. I mean, as I said, it's the mid to late 50s to the mid 80s, so that's a good 50, 60, 70, 80, 30 years of Barry Allen as the Flash. And so I think we have gotten to the point now to where we can move away from Barry Allen as the Flash, because it was really, I want to say it was, just hypothetically, and people can correct me, I want to say it was around 2009 when people started going, oh yeah, Barry Allen's the Flash, let's start using the Flash more in our movies. And I'm talking about animated movies and whatever, what you will see. But I think it was just around that period where people started to put Barry Allen as the Flash in more of their stuff. And I'm not saying it as a slight to the people that did that, it was just them going, hey, Barry Allen was the Flash before Wally West or Bart Allen, let's use Barry for these movies, for these animated films. And then we get to sort of the more popular instance of Barry Allen as Flash, which was the 2014 Flash show with Grant Gustin. And so for 9 seasons, whether you loved them or you hated them or you were just in the middle, like indifferent to them, Barry Allen was used as the Flash for 9 seasons. And so that's 9 years, or almost 9 years, of Grant Gustin's Barry Allen as the Flash. And I just think that 9 years of just telling multiple stories with that version of the Flash is enough for audiences. And I think that, and they told so many stories. The only major stories that I think they didn't tell in the TV show was just Barry versus the Rogues, of just Captain Cold, Heatwave, Golden Glider, Weather Wizard, Trickster, Captain Boomerang, just the numerous characters who make up the supervillain team of the Rogues versus the Flash. They didn't really do that storyline, and that, I think, me personally, that was a storyline that they really missed on. I think that could have been a very popular storyline. They would have just dedicated, even if it was just half a season, to just Barry Allen versus the Rogues. And I think that was a storyline that they missed out on, and just, we've gotten to the point where so many stories of Barry's popular stories have been told. Like, Season 1 was just Barry Allen versus Reverse Flash, and that's a major storyline with the Flash. Season 2 was Barry versus Zoom, and Zoom is not even a Barry villain. Zoom is a Wally West villain. And in Season 3, it was Alchemy, who is really Savitar, who Savitar, again, is technically a Wally villain, but again, they reworked Savitar to actually be Evil Barry, which is sort of a New 52 Barry Allen story. And Season 5 was the Thinker, who is more of a Jay Garrick villain. And then in Season 4 was the Thinker. Season 5 was Cicada, which again, more of a Wally West villain. And then Season 6 was Bloodwork. I don't know exactly where Bloodwork is fit. And then it was Mirror Master, who is, or Mirror Mistress, whatever you want to say. I just call her Mirror Master because that's who she was. She was Eva McCulloch, that's Mirror Master. And I think that version, Eva McCulloch, who is inspired by the Evan McCulloch version, I believe that's more of a Wally villain. And then Season 7 was, Season 7, I can't remember. I'm not going to try to get my brain to work. But, like, so many Barry Allen stories were told in the Flash show, and Wally West was very much a supporting character in that show. And I really do feel like the show really missed the opportunity to do a passing of the torch season to where Barry, like Grant Gustin's Barry, could retire for like a season or two, and then Kean Lonsdale as Wally West could have been the main character. Again, first season or two. I understand Kean wanted to do his own stuff. I really think there was an opportunity to have Wally be the main character of a season or two. And then if you want it, you could bring Barry back. But I think that's going back to my main point, which is I think it's time to let go of Barry Allen. Barry Allen has been sort of the face of the Flash for 2 decades at this point. Or over a decade. Not 2 decades, but a good decade. A good decade he has been the main character of the Flash. And I think it is time to sort of transition away from that. And I say that because Wally West became the Flash in the mid to late 80s. And all of the 90s, it's Wally West. And even when the Flash debuts in the Superman animated show, a part of the DC animated universe, that Flash isn't Barry, it's Wally. Because Wally is the Flash at that point. The version of the Flash that we get in the Justice League animated show is Wally. Like, a lot of people's Flash when they were growing up, like myself, the Flash was Wally. I grew up with Wally West as the Flash, and that could just be another reason why I think it's time that we should put Wally as sort of our main character. And you can even see it in comics right now where Wally West is the main Flash of the main comic book run right now. And I think it is time for movies and TV shows to fully, like, take that in and go in the direction of Wally. And I think that because there are a lot of people that do their fan castings of, oh, this person should be Barry Allen in this new universe, in the new DCU, this actor should be Barry Allen, this should be the new Flash. And I think we need to move away from Barry, sort of like how when the 50s came around and we started using Flash in a lot more animated shows, and just when we transitioned to the live action stuff, the Flash that we used wasn't Jay Garrick. We moved away from Jay Garrick. We moved to Barry, and Barry became our main Flash, and Barry was used in a lot of stuff. And so I think we've gotten to the point where we can move away from Barry and we can move towards Wally being our main character, our main Flash. Sort of like how we moved away from Jay to get to Barry. And, like, I have an entire pitch on what I would do with a Flash movie set in the DCU. And, spoiler, Barry is not the main character. of my Flash movie, of my Flash pitch. Wally's the main character. Because I think, and especially with movies at this point, I think Ezra Miller carried a lot of baggage for that character. Like, Ezra Miller at this point, I would say, I know a lot of people would say Grant Gustin's a little bit more connected with Barry Allen because of the 9 seasons, but in terms of movies, Ezra Miller is attached to the Flash. Like, Ezra Miller is sort of the face that you see when people talk about, hey, who's the Flash in this movie? Everyone goes to Ezra Miller. And so because of that, I just think it's a lot easier now to just transition away from Barry because of the baggage of Ezra Miller. Now, when I say I have that pitch, that Flash pitch, I'm not going to go into all the details. I'm just saying that Wally's my main character, but we do see a cameo from a version of Barry Allen's Flash. That's all I can say. A version of Barry Allen's Flash is sort of the Barry Allen makes a cameo in the film. However, it's near the 3rd act of the film is when that version of Flash appears. And then throughout the rest of my Flash franchise, of my Flash pitch universe, it's Wally. Wally is the main character because, let's be honest, a lot of the stories that we know that are popular throughout the 2000s were Wally stories. A lot of the concepts that were introduced, like the Speed Force, like mainly the Speed Force is the main one I can think of, but like the Speed Force was introduced during Wally's run on the comics. So I just think it's time to finally go back to Wally as our main character. And I think, and even like the story, there was a story in the 90s called The Return of Barry Allen, where, plot twist, it is basically Reverse Flash coming back in time, pretending to be Barry Allen, and everyone's like, oh, Barry Allen's back, Barry Allen's back. But then the big reveal is that, no, that's not actually Barry Allen, it's Reverse Flash and Eobard Thawne. So when you look at that story, and they say, chronologically, this is Eobard Thawne's first story as Reverse Flash. And so with that context, Eobard Thawne's Flash that he goes up against isn't even Barry. His first Flash is Wally. So it's just, I think we've finally gotten to the point where we can move on from Barry and focus on Wally as the Flash. And I think James Gunn should go, like, I'm just, again, this is just my opinion, I think James Gunn should let go of Barry Allen and just focus his universe, for Flash, focus his universe around Flash around Wally West. Because at this point, everyone knows who Iris is, everyone knows who Barry is, everyone knows these major supporting characters of Barry Allen. Not many people know about Wally's supporting characters anymore, and if they do, it's because of the Flash TV show making them for Barry. So I think it's just time to move forward with Wally. Heck, even the character, I just remember this, even the character of Tina McGee, who was in the 90s Flash show for John Wesley Shipp's Barry Allen, she's a Wally West character. She debuted in the Wally West run. And so I just think it's time to move away from Barry for Wally. But again, that's just my opinion on the matter. That's just my little talking point. What are your thoughts on moving away from Barry Allen to Wally West as our main Flash in terms of TV shows and in movies and in terms of James Gunn's DCU? What are your thoughts on focusing it more on Wally than Barry? I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your discussions. I don't want angry discussions in the comment section. I don't want people like throwing hate towards each other. I want to have a normal conversation. I understand this is the internet and that's probably asking a lot, but I want this to be a normal conversation that we can have, because I feel like this is a pretty good argument or discussion to have with people about moving away from Barry and focusing it more on Wally. But again, those are just my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Post them in the comments down below. Again, if you like this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. That way you can be up to date with all the videos I have here on the channel. But until next time, also hit the notification bell. That way, whenever a video like this comes your way, you can be notified whenever it pops up. But until next time, I've been Mr. EliMac, you've been the audience, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day.